to Food Safety 123 training course on Good Manufacturing Practices, or GMPs. As a certified food establishment, we know you would like to make the most of your resources. By taking this course, you will earn a thorough training session towards this certification. Let's begin by talking about GMPs. GMPs stand for Good Manufacturing Practices. GMPs are designed to provide consistent quality and prevent contamination in the food items we produce. GMPs address many contamination issues in the food processing industry, such as plant design, equipment used, production, process control, and the impact of people that are directly making the product. To better understand the impact of GMPs on producing safe quality foods, let's take a closer look at 8 important principles governing GMPs in the food industry. Principle number 1, well-written GMPs procedures. An establishment must have a well-written GMP procedure for each operation. These operations of these written procedures give the establishment the controls necessary to minimize the chance for mix-up or errors when manufacturing product. Principle number 2, documentation and validation of GMP procedures. Documentation is the recording of each significant step performed as we complete a task according to the GMP written procedures. Validation is a proactive proof that the task has been completed correctly. This is done by implementing a series of tests to assure that the system and processes do what the GMP written procedures say they do. Therefore, validation gives meaning to the documented records and that product produced are truly safe and protected. Principle number 3, design, construction, and maintenance of facility and equipment. The key concern is to avoid the possibility of contamination or errors in the workplace. For example, cafeteria, locker rooms, and restrooms must be separated from the manufacturing area. Also, to protect the integrity of products, the establishment must ensure control of water, air, temperature, and humidity. Housekeeping, sanitation, and maintenance also function to defend against contamination and errors. Principle number 4, prevention of cross-contamination. Raw and unprocessed food must be separated physically or in work stages for ready-to-eat food, and effective cleaning and sanitation must be provided between these stages. Access to processing areas must be restricted and controlled. Surfaces, tools, equipment, accessories, and furniture must be thoroughly cleaned and disinfected after contact with raw food. Principle number 5, personal hygiene. Persons that gather, handle, store, process, and prepare food can transfer pathogens. This can be prevented by proper personal hygiene, behavior, and handling practices. For instance, employees with cuts or wounds must shield the injury by waterproof dressing before handling product. In addition, employees must wear clean uniforms, including shoes, and must wash their hands before entering processing areas. Principle number 6, packaging, product information, and traceability. Packaging must ensure adequate protection of the product to prevent damages and contamination and must provide adequate space for the label. Product information guarantees the product is handled, stored, processed, prepared, and displayed in an appropriate manner to permit easy identification of the product and, if necessary, its recall. Traceability must be within and outside the establishment. Internal tracing is done in the course of the processing, and external tracing takes place when the product has already been released in the market or through the distribution system. Traceability plays an important factor during a recall. Principle number 7, pest control. The presence of pests in the food processing plant can cause disease to consumers. A solution to this is integrated pest control programs, which consist of 4 elements. Element 1, prevention of access. Element 2, prevention of nesting. Element 3, eradication. And element 4, monitoring. It is important that the establishment formulate a pest control program to implement and evaluate how well it is keeping pests out of the facility or under control. Principle number 8, training. Food processing establishment must conduct courses on the personal hygiene and food hygiene for their employees. This training must be evaluated periodically to determine the need for reinforcement. Persons involved in the processing must be trained in GMPs and made aware of their importance. All personnel must be aware of their particular roles regarding their responsibilities for the protection of food and pathogens and spoilage from microorganisms. Good manufacturing practices are an indispensable tool in the production of safe food and must be applied responsibly at all stages of the food production process so that food will be a source not of disease but of wholesome product and enjoyed by all consumers. You now have the basic understanding for good manufacturing practices, or GMPs. So let's go out there and produce the best and safest product for our consumers.